23 আগষ্ট 2022 এয়া ল'ৰাৰ দেউতাকে ভিডিঅ' কৰি আছে। বিখ্যাত জয়সাগৰ পুখুৰী দেখিছেনে? আহোম স্বৰ্গদেউ ৰুদ্ৰসিংহই তেওঁৰ মাতৃ জয়মতীৰ সোঁৱৰণত 1696 খ্ৰীষ্টাব্দত এই পুখুৰীটো খন্দাইছিল। তাৰ পাৰতেই সগৌৰৱে থিয় দি আছে এয়া পদ্মধৰ চলিহাদেৱে প্ৰতিষ্ঠা কৰা শিৱসাগৰ কলেজ। কলেজখন স্থাপন হৈছিল 1947 চনত। ইয়াৰ সৰ্বমুঠ 16টা বিভাগ আছে। আমাৰ সন্তান অগ্নিধে ডিপাৰ্টমেণ্টছ অৱ হিউমেনিটিজ এণ্ড ছ'চিয়েল ছায়েন্সে আয়োজন কৰা আন্তঃৰাষ্ট্ৰীয় পৰ্যায়ৰ ছেমিনাৰত গৱেষণা পত্ৰ পাঠ কৰিবলৈ গৈছিল। তেওঁৰ গৱেষণাৰ বিষয় আছিল ৰিডিং পলিটিকেল কমেণ্টৰী ইন লিটাৰেচাৰ ফ্ৰম নৰ্থ ইষ্ট ইণ্ডিয়া এণ্ড এনালাইচিছ অৱ আৰুণি কাশ্যপছ দ্য হাউচ উইথ আ থাউজেণ্ড ষ্টৰিজ। আৰু সেই ছেমিনাৰখনত উপস্থিত আছিল ডক্টৰ জয়শ্ৰী গোস্বামী মহন্ত বাইদেউ। ল'ৰা খুবেই আশীষ ধন্য হ'ল। চাওকচোন।
On the real stage after the 3-year-long COVID hiatus. The last time I had presented a paper was in 2019. So, okay, I hope it will be a nice and interactive session. My paper is Reading Political Commentary in Literature from Northeast India, an analysis of Aruni Kashyap's The House with a Thousand Stories. Picking up from where our Honorable Gayatri Ma'am spoke, that how our regional literatures, especially the Assamese regional literature, is so unexplored, right? And at least in Assam, at least in our local spaces, people at least know the novels or the poems written in Assamese. The novels which are based in Assam but written in English are even further unexplored, right? So that was the sort of motivation for me to really take up Indian writing in English from our Northeast as my research interest in general. And this paper is a fruit of that, right? Okay. So also the theme of this conference is the concept of flux. Now what do we mean by flux? When there are certain disciplines interacting with each other and creating a new version, right? Now, although I am working on literature, but what am I looking at? I am looking at the political commentary. I am looking at the politics. So it's the interaction of politics and literature that I am trying to look at, and how literature serves a purpose far higher than simply entertainment in our world and in our situations, right? So next slide, please. Okay. So to introduce my paper, first of all, what is political fiction? Political fiction is a fiction which uses its narratives. Like, okay, there is a novel. The story of the novel, the plot of the novel is just not there purely to entertain us. Okay? It is there for a far higher purpose. The purpose is to comment on the political systems of the times, the political theories that are in place during that time, and also on the society. And what does that do? That in turn inspires us and tries to affect any change that can be brought about in our society. Right? Coming to Assam, because that is where the novel I have selected is set in. It's set in Assam. So Assam has had a very volatile history. We look at pre-colonial, the history might have been a bit similar to the rest of the country, but especially the post-colonial history has been very volatile. We have had the 1962 Sino-Indian War, we have had the Assam agitation, We have had the Pahan or whatnot. Then we have had the insurgency period, right? So one cannot expect a novel which is set in Assam with Assamese characters to not reflect this volatility in our past. We cannot be purely innocent and apolitical, right? Otherwise, our stories would just not make sense. My father missed out on a year of possibility of reporting what is happening in their lands. If they want, let's say Aruni Kashyap, he stays in the US, right? If he wants, he can take up an American character, he can simply write a story about a character in Georgia and life in Georgia. But no, he feels the responsibility to report what is happening in Assam to the world. And how will he do that? Via his fiction, right? Next slide, please. Okay, so my thesis statement, what I'm trying to claim basically in this paper is that this novel, The House of a Thousand Stories, is political in nature, right? It's political in nature, in which the author comments on the systems of the places, the settings, without harming the narrative, without harming the flow of the narrative. It's not like, okay, there is the story and then we stop and then we comment, again we continue the story. No. While the story goes on, while the plot narration goes on, he comments on the political system and we'll see how. Right? Next slide, please. Okay. So those were my research questions and objectives. That what is the skill, what is the technique with which he comments without letting go of the narrative? Also, to identify power structures in the novel, because power structures directly link to politics, and in my analysis, I have tried to look at political commentary via the concept of power and power structures, right? And also, I have looked at the role that state apparatuses play in the plot of the novel. So that is also reflected in my methodology. I have looked at the concept of power, how there is power structure and how there is a power struggle between the various characters, right? Because that is very political in nature. And also the ideological state apparatus and the repressive state apparatus. Now, what are these two? These two are concepts widely found in Marxist criticism, right? Ideological state apparatus is basically your schools, your colleges, your family, your religion, which basically feeds into your mind certain ideas about how we should live our lives, how the world should be, and we just follow them without questioning. And repressive state apparatus is the more visible form of dominating us. That is not dominating but controlling us. Let's say the police, the army, we don't do something according to the law, they can come and punish us. And that is repressive state apparatus. Very simply. Okay, next slide, please. Now, my analysis. So, what is the main thing that I've looked at in the novel is fear, the idea of fear. There is a constant environment of fear in these two villages, Hatimora and Titiripudi, and also in the Guwahati city, but more so in these two villages where the story has been set, where the main character Pablo, he goes to his father's village and he goes to his grandmother's village, and he finds first love and he discovers family secrets, right? That is the main story all about. But it doesn't happen innocently. It doesn't happen in a safe space. It happens in a space where there is violence and bloodshed.